Hi guys, I'm Mike and this is F1 Fanatics. Hi guys and welcome back to another F1 weekly news show, and there's a bit to catch up on because obviously we didn't have a weekly news last week because we were in Vegas, but we are back this week and we are going to round off the main headlines of the week. So guys, let's get into those headlines. So starting off, and this is the big one, that Renault were disqualified from Suzuka and they have chosen not to appeal the decision, and this is for obviously Racing Point put together that 12-page dossier that was saying that they thought it was a pre-set brake assistance system that was allowing the drivers, that was changing the brake systems for the drivers. It was proven it wasn't that, but what it was is it was considered by the FIA a driving aid, which means that it was assisting with that brake differential balance, and it might have been able to enable the drivers to extend their stints longer, because if you remember from Suzuka, Danny Ricciardo did a very long first stint, and then obviously finished 7th and was originally classified as P6 due to Charles Leclerc's penalties. But they've decided that was that. Renault deciding to not appeal it because I imagine that they have probably used this system before Suzuka. They don't want any more digging. They'll take the slap on the wrist, although they'll obviously remain frustrated by it. I believe their official statement was they've provided all the evidence they can, and they don't want to be locked in a battle talking about it. So they've just let it go. They're going to move on from the situation. F1's all about pushing the limits, and it looks like Renault just crossed the line a little bit on this push. On to the next news story then, guys, and obviously over the time we were away, Lewis Hamilton came out on Instagram and posted his thoughts on being vegan and how everyone should be vegan to help save the planet, be greener and do everything like that, basically using his voice for green energy. He's had some support from drivers, and Fernando Alonso, no surprise, no love lost between these two, was basically saying that he was a bit hypocritical because he spends his life driving around in sports cars and Formula 1 cars, obviously having a higher average carbon footprint than a normal person, and saying that just don't eat meat is not really going to cut it with a lot of people. If I'm being honest with you, I'm staying away from this one with a barge pole. People will have thoughts either side of the argument. Lewis is entitled to use his platform to say what he thinks, and Alonso and other drivers are entitled to kind of have their opinion, because as soon as you put an opinion out in the public eye, then it is open to be judged. So yeah, that also happened in the news. Next one, obviously Christian Horner, Jos Verstappen, Max's dad, had come out recently and was not happy about where Red Bull were and was concerned about the direction of the team, obviously because he wants his son to be a world championship winner, and Max Verstappen at the moment is not in a car capable of doing that. We were actually really excited, I think, by the Red Bull going into the second half of the season and what Max Verstappen could do in this second half of the season, but the car has just slipped so far behind the Ferrari and Mercedes. I know a lot of people are thinking because they've traditionally done well in Mexico that they might bounce back this weekend, but for me, I don't see anyone past Ferrari. But Christian Horner says that Max doesn't share his father's concerns, and he is all in Red Bull, and I can kind of understand that and see that, because at the moment, if Max was to leave Red Bull, there is no guarantee. It could be a little bit like a Fernando Alonso situation. Obviously, Fernando Alonso was a double winner with Renault when he left for McLaren, but you can come as a highly rated driver, but going into a new team with new people, there is no guarantee that it will work out. Where he knows at Red Bull, he knows that everything is built around him. He knows everything is forcing around him. They are driven people at Red Bull and want to get back to the top. They certainly are pushing. Honda was never going to be the best competing in its first season, and it has probably done better than expected overall. So he's probably like, I'm willing to ride this out a bit because I've got everything working in my favour here. Another news story is the Miami proposed Grand Prix again, and I think it provisionally is confirmed. But then all the residents in Miami are saying no to it. So I think Liberty Media went to the extent of asking people to beg Miami to let them host the Grand Prix. And I think Miami could be quite a cool place to host a Grand Prix. I know Liberty Media are really keen to kind of boost the American market. If people don't want it there, you can't just force a Grand Prix on them. And there are plenty of circuits that you could bring back on the calendar if you wanted a bit. Malaysia, Istanbul in Turkey. I think the Indian Grand Prix is certainly a market that could grow for people, and would be certainly a place that Liberty Media could look into kind of investing in again. So it's not the end of the world if Miami doesn't come on. I saw the initial plans and it looked quite a nice circuit. But yeah, if people don't want it, I don't think you can force it on people. You might have to just let that one go. Now, another positive news story is that Correa has stood for the first time since surgery, and this was a video that was circling around on social media this week, and I highly suggest people going and finding it, because yeah, it's just amazing the progress that he's made since surgery. You could see it was visibly painful to stand up, and obviously he was supported. He still had a frame. It wasn't an unaided stand, but it's a big step forward in his long road on recovery. And I just think, you know, all our thoughts are always with Juan Manuel Correa, that he can keep fighting and that his recovery goes as smooth as possible, and that one day he may be able to get back in a car and maybe even drive competitively, which would be an absolutely amazing thing to see. And then, obviously, we have the tech updates going into this week's Grand Prix at Mexico, and a lot of teams have made adjustments to cooling systems. I know the Red Bull have brought in a wider engine cover. I believe the Williams have brought an upgrade to their barge board, and they are also going to be testing that front wing again that they tested in practice in Japan. You've seen a return of Ferrari and Racing Point bringing back the front wings that they used in more low downforce setups. Obviously trying to gain maximum advantage that they have on those straights in the Grand Prix. But as always, motorsport.com give a good rundown of all the tech updates that they've seen, with pictures and description of what they have seen from there. And they can explain it a lot better than what I can. So what I will do, guys, is I will leave the description to the article down below, and you can check out those full there. But basically, the main one is they're sorting out their cooling systems, making sure that the car can cool down, because it's an interesting circuit being at high altitude in Mexico, and they're also going for more kind of low downforce setups, changing those front wings again. But yeah, guys, that is the weekly news show. Hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget, get involved in the comments. Let us know what you think on that, obviously, Renault suspension or disqualification. Let us know what you think on Verstappen in terms of his thoughts on staying at Red Bull. Do you think he has it, or do you think he should make a move? What are your thoughts on the Correa situation? And guys, don't forget, if you are new around here, you can subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification, and you can keep up to date with all our latest content just like this. But for now, UF1 fans, keep racing.